I made a custom Gambit. This is the original figure and this is the idea. Let's go ahead and make it. I'm a Deadpool Wolverine fanboy like you, and I want a Mezco style Gambit, but the original one is hella expensive. It's stupid, bro. Therefore, I'll make it myself. This kit is by Hiding 3D. I'll go ahead and leave his link in the bio so you can go get it yourself. This chest is made for the white body, not the black body. Let me show you. It's a little bit raised from here, but if that's because of the neck, if we switch it out, fits perfectly. He particularly made this kit for NW Toys and V Toys. On the original file, it was kind of thin. I let him know about it. Eventually it broke and he fixed it. I'm using a mixed match of the white pieces and black pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the forearms. A la vez está en caliente esta mamada. El pinche hoyo. We got all these pieces here that go inside these holes. These are not one-to-one sizes because they're universal. So what we gotta do is we gotta make them fit this one so it's a snug fit, because these are heavy parts, so we're trying to make as much pressure as we can so we can hold it. And we can use hot glue for that. We just fill in the inside and then make a hole for it, and then that should be good enough for the pressure. Let's go ahead and do that. So what you're doing when putting the hot glue inside of the hole is that you're making enough pressure for the peg to be rubbing against it and move around, but none of that work on this resin. So let's go ahead and pour some UV resin, and hopefully that'll cause it to make pressure. It did cause pressure, it's just when I removed it, this happened. And broke it, bro. You know what? Let's go ahead and just modify the file. So instead of depending on the external materials to cause pressure, I'm gonna just make the hole smaller, like your ball, and then I'll go ahead and put in the peg inside there, like your mom last night. Well, that's curing. Let's go ahead and work on the rest of the other accessories, like the boots, by pouring hot glue and molding it to the figure's feet. We're basically doing the same process for the head sculpt and the peg hole in there. We can mold the silicone to the ball joint. I'm pretty happy with the outcome so far. I think adding the colors and the chrome is just gonna make it pop even more. Now that we have that fitted, let's go ahead and modify the clothes. So I don't know if you can tell this part, but it has the actual button, but this is too big for the figure itself. So what we can do, remove this, move it to the side so it clicks on in a tighter fit. Let's go ahead and do that. I got these pants from this figure. I broke it by accident, but it doesn't matter. I just needed the pants. And just as a helpful advice, if you ever don't know how to do something, use YouTube. I didn't know how to sew and I learned on YouTube. So instead of asking me in the freaking TikTok section of the comments, thank you for your comments. I noticed that you noticed that these pants are not black, they're brown. So let's go ahead and make them black. So make sure to grab the synthetic dye because that's gonna be for synthetic plastics, like in clothes. Then you wanna go ahead and put in hot boiling water, pour some dye, pour the figures, stir it around. They should become black and then just let them dry. So I went ahead and modified this sculpt because it tends to be open from the back. I went ahead and closed that up, and then I used flexible resin so it can stretch open. But yeah, it just looks a little bit better and cleaner. Let's go ahead and prime these. Now that we have them sanded, we can go ahead and prime them so we can get them ready for paint. So before starting the painting process, I wanted to do something original that hasn't been seen before in figure form. And it's that shot of Professor X looking at the skullified Gambit. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna just do that, you know, because it looks cool. So this is basically that. I know I left the ears, but how is he gonna hear? Homeboy still gotta listen. Anyway, what I did is I removed the face from the original sculpt of the Gambit, added a skull, and then send it out to the printer. Here it is printed, on with the rest of the armor. Here they are primed. I'm gonna go ahead and paint them black because Gambit has primarily darker colors, so it's gonna be a good base so I can layer on top the color. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was editing the skull, I left 2 tiny cylinders inside the eye holes, so when I paint them, I could get this effect. Now I'm gonna go ahead and lay down the wet palette so I can start painting the skin colors and the hands. I mean, it's usually nothing special, it's just based on layers, you know. Start with the dark layer and then you work your way up to a lighter. Same thing with the skin tones. Point your airbrush in a direction where it causes shadow, so when you later do layers, you give it more variation in the skin tones. We're gonna go ahead and use some chrome. I think I might go with this one. This is silver. So that, get a consistent color of chrome or silver in this situation, so we can later add the colors on top of it. Mira bien perro. Very nice. I asked you guys on Instagram what color I should do them. I was deciding in between the X-Men 97 version or the Deadpool Wolverine movie. I didn't know what color to go for, but I got these 2 Tamiya translucent colors. You guys chose pink, so let's go ahead and paint it. The animated series, these are gonna be blue as well instead of the silver from the movie. For that, I also got this one, like blue Tamiya. Oh, a la bestia. Y güey, está bien fuerte esa mamada, güey, no mames. Chipepto Bismol, güey. No mames, güey. Güey, esta mamada está fuertísima, güey, no. So basically what you're doing with the clear acrylic paint is that you're laying it on top of the chrome color so it can tint the chrome and still give it the reflectiveness, basically. Because what happens is that if you mix the paint with the chrome, it's gonna turn opaque, basically, and it's not gonna look as good, and that's why you always want to prep it prior to applying the chrome so you can give it as much shine as possible. So my dumbass bought this pink, but it's opaque. So what I'm gonna try to do is mix this clear red with this opaque pink so we can get sort of like a clear color so we can put it on top of the armor. So we can la salsa de cacahuate, la enchilosa, pinch of Pepto-Bismol. So look, I've been testing these colors on the coins. So that's pink and that's kind of shiny opaque, and then here's blue. It looks better on blue, sorry. The paints are from Tamiya. I know I said only use Vallejo, but here's the exception because these are really good. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna go ahead and paint now the accessories. Here's the thing, I got no idea what I'm doing. I try to go for a glowing effect. I saw a bunch of the Warhammer people do this trick all the time. I don't know how they do it. I don't have really good understanding on it. I'm still working on it. I tried to watch a bunch of TikToks about it and I still didn't get the results I wanted. So just bear with me, you get the idea. Coming back to something I do know how to do is faces. So right here I'm just painting the black eyes and the red pupil on Gambit. And I'm also drawing in the eyebrows as well. I'm just adding the last bit of black in the mask, and then finally I'm adding the blue around the collar, and here is the end result. This portrait looks more like the comic version of it. Now this one I can see more the resemblance of Channing Tatum. Here we are giving it a closer look into the armor by hiding 3D. That detail is really good. As well with that chrome paint, it just makes it pop. As well with some accessories and some effects as well. I forgive the paint job, I'm not good at it, but also the figure retains majority of the articulation except for that one piece in the chest. Since it's one, it tends to limit it just a tiny bit, but when it comes to the legs and arms, since it's cloth, it still retains it. Also, if you want any of these head sculpts, you can get them at Decent Customs. I'll leave a link in the bio so you can commission any of these custom head sculpts that you see, and like he'll print it for you or he'll paint them for you. So I'll leave the link in the bio. Thank you. And then here he is with other X-Men: Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Deadpool. He scales pretty good, maybe a little bit better because it is with the bigger body, but it scales in pretty good, you know. Here it is with the Mesco Wolverine. He's shorter, so that's good, you know. And then here he is with another Mesco V-Toys body swap. You know, it looked pretty proportionate. Now here's the good one. And basically this is just a reimagining of the Horseman type, you know. I think it's Death in the comics, but this is how you're supposed to pose him right next to Apocalypse. So here it is with the rest of my customs and a Wolverine Deadpool figure. Let me know if you really like it. But what other custom should I do?